Does healing seem like a lot of work to you? Does it seem like you're never going to get to the bottom of your endless wounds? Does it seem like it'll just go on forever and ever and ever? It won't. It won't. There'll be a time you'll be healed. And what's beyond healing? Will your life be perfect? Will it be serene? Will it be peaceful? Will you have no problems? What are you going to do when you're healed? But until that time, there's more work to do. And we're going to talk about the work itself today. We're also going to talk about what's beyond healing on the other side on today's episode of the Shaman Patrick Show. Let's go. One of the biggest challenges in healing is perhaps knowing that you need to heal around a certain thing. I mean, there's lots of symptoms of someone who needs to heal. Like it might be obvious. They might be homeless. They might be a drug addict. They might be in an abusive relationship. They might be broke. They might have a lot of financial problems. I mean, these are the symptoms of somebody who needs to heal. I mean, of course, there are exceptions. There's other symptoms, like maybe you're not talking to your parents, or your kids are not talking to you. The family is extremely dysfunctional. All of these things are symptoms that healing needs to take place. Another big symptom is you've got digestive issues, or weird health problems, or autoimmune disorders, stuff like that. Just issues. And healing can take care of all of those issues, each and every one of them. But the big challenge is knowing that you have to heal, or knowing that you need to heal. Another hindrance to it is having a lot of numbing agents, endless scrolling, lots of coffee, antidepressants. Drama can be a numbing agent. Lots of projections going back and forth. So if you've gotten to the point where you're like, yes, I need to heal. Yes, I need to heal. I know exactly what to do. I need to do some shadow work, maybe do a soul retrieval, maybe do something different than what I'm doing. I myself didn't know I needed to heal, even when I was engaging with spirituality. Like, I was initiated as a shaman and I thought that was it. All I got to do is learn how to be a shaman. But one of the hallmarks of being a shaman is that the shaman will probably have a whole lot of stuff to heal from. And as that shaman heals themselves, they gain the right and the insight on how to be able to help others heal. I can't force people to heal. I used to think that letting people know, hey, you can heal from that. You don't have to put up with that migraine headache, or you don't have to have that thing going on with you. Most people don't want to heal because they don't know that they can. They don't know that they can get relief from their symptoms. They don't need drugs. They don't need psychedelics. They don't need to microdose. And in fact, drugs can make a whole lot of things worse in your life. Stay away from that stuff. It makes you sick, psychotic, and it's bypassing. But, at some point when we're healing, it can feel like hell. And that's where I want to start this presentation today. When that healing feels like hell, there are moments on the healing journey when it doesn't feel like you're getting better. It feels like you're losing your mind. Everything is falling apart. Family members are more toxic than ever. Old patterns are louder, and every layer you peel back seems to reveal something even more painful. It's tempting to believe it's getting worse, but it's not. You're just finally awake enough to see it. You're no longer numb. The dysfunction has always been there. You were just conditioned to tolerate it. So those of us who are raised in alcoholic homes, dysfunctional families, narcissistic parents, the reading rainbow of trauma. We were conditioned to tolerate that bad behavior. So a lot of us learn to numb out at an early age. We learn to rationalize the behavior. We learn to rationalize everything. Plus, we might have other family members, society itself, running interference on us, being able to see exactly how bad it is. So for many of us, we have a spiritual awakening because the ego around it breaks. The ego breaks, that breaks apart. We finally see it. The scales fall from our eyes and we see the dysfunction clearly. And what do we do about it? Many people just have another beer or take a pill or find some way to ameliorate the pain that they feel of seeing it. Hey, it fucking sucks when you realize that your family is screwed up or that your relationship is messed up or that you yourself are messed up. But you only have one choice: heal or go back to sleep. But you can't really go back to sleep because you've seen too much. You know, sometimes when we first awaken, we get a period of just pure bliss. It's all, the world is just so brand new. It's so amazing. I can't believe how beautiful this world is. But then spirit will force the issue. We'll get a taste of what life is like beyond healing. Have any of you been through that? Feel free to say so in the comments. Did you have that big burst of like, oh wow, being awakened is gonna be great, and then back down to earth? Now you got to deal with it. Now you have to deal with all the stuff going on in your life. Because if you've been avoiding something, trauma, addiction, compulsive behaviors, generational patterns, spirit will eventually drag it out of the shadows. The tools you use to survive, distraction, substances, people-pleasing, denial, they stop working. You enter what mystics call the dark night of the soul, where nothing feels safe or certain. You might face financial collapse. You might lose people. Your nervous system might be screaming. But this isn't punishment. It's sacred disruption. It's initiation. It's initiation into a new way of life. So if you look at that, all that trauma, that addiction, that pain, that dysfunction, all of that painful stuff, that's often the initiation into the higher consciousness. And if we try to resist it, if we resist that change, if we refuse to come to terms with certain things in our past, in our present, spirit's just going to keep hammering us until we do. How bad does it have to get? I mean, I've worked with people who refuse to just face reality. Face reality. Who wants to face reality? You know, Abraham Hicks will tell you to ignore reality, and that works. But if you are living with an abusive spouse, whether that spouse is male or female, it's going to be really hard to heal. I mean, if you're talking to your alcoholic father on the phone every week, it's going to be really hard to heal. And so spirit might cause an event to force you to deal with it. I mean, in my family, my father tried to do insurance fraud on me. It was horrific to realize that this was going on. I had questions like, how many other things in my life, how many other financial career opportunities were ruined by my own father? I was like, oh my God, how long has this been going on? You know, it's like, oh my God, that was that uncomfortable thing that I had to face. That's when my digestive issues started. That's when I started having to spend a lot of money on supplements and doctor visits and all of that. This shit can make you sick. What I should have done on that day was face it fully. Not try to explain it to other people because it sounded crazy to them. It might sound crazy to people right now, but for those of you who've been through something similar, you're like, oh yeah, I went through something like that. Mothers opening checking accounts in their children's name and then overdrawing them, ruining their credit cards, fraud, and all this fucking stuff that happens in families like that. I'm not special and I'm not unique. But in that case, spirit was forcing the issue because a lot of stuff I could just ignore or overlook or pretend like it didn't affect me at all. But there I am on the phone with the insurance company and they're telling me, sir, I would save all communications between you and your father because you might need it for evidence. I'm like, evidence for what? And he goes, this is a crime. My father is dead now. He wasn't actually able to do it because I wised up. I caught him before he went to the courthouse. The jig was up, that kind of thing. But Spirit handed me that event for me to finally deal with it. I try to tell people about it, and they're still like, oh, I don't, your father wouldn't do that. Your father wouldn't do that. Do you see how society and other people will run interference on this? You know what's going on with you. You know what's happening with you. So if an event like that happens to you in your life, you're probably not going to be able to tell other people about it because it's crazy. And the things that you discover or the things that you know about pale in comparison to the things that you don't. So if Spirit forces an issue like that in your life, be grateful for it. I'm incredibly grateful for it. I caught it. Spirit was like, here you go. Here you go. But also I'm like, man, that my dad got really desperate. He got so desperate that he was willing to do that to his own son so that nobody would know that he was an abusive alcoholic. It's crazy, isn't it? That's the stuff that you're going to uncover. That's the stuff that people are afraid to face. And that's the stuff that Spirit will force you to face. It's not pretty. Healing is not for pussies. That's why many people choose to just oxy themselves to death or drink themselves to death. They don't want to look at the very uncomfortable things that go on in their life, so they're willing to go into a bunch of debt or anything to avoid facing that truth. It shocks me each and every time. So the obstacle here is the way. One of the hardest lessons in the healing journey is understanding that the obstacle is not in the way, it is the way. The discomfort is the map. Every hard thing you go through is pointing you toward liberation. Spirit is ruthless with your delusions, but only because freedom is on the other side. And when I say Spirit is ruthless with your delusions through healing will be stripped away. They'll be ripped down like old wallpaper. So sometimes I'll say that people are delusional, that people are cockamamie, that this shit is cockamamie. It is because I had those same delusions. I had those same cockamamie things going on. So when you see somebody having a similar delusion, Spirit strips those delusions away. Because if you don't strip those delusions away, you're never going to heal. Imagine if you walk through life with a bunch of splinters in your feet, getting infected, and you're just like, I don't have splinters in my feet. I don't have splinters in my feet. As your toes are getting amputated because you had splinters in your feet. As the toes are being sliced off, you're saying, my toes are not being sliced off. That's what I mean by a delusion. When you are delusional about what's going on in your own body, in your own life, in your own mind. That's what I mean by being delusional. So you will have to set boundaries. You will have to say no. You may have to go low contact or no contact with people who constantly re-injure you. You will feel guilt. You will grieve, but it's the price of peace, and peace is worth every tear. So something really like I wanted to keep people in my life. I wanted to have a relationship with certain people in my life. So I would have them in my life, but I would have to go to Al-Anon twice a week. I would also have to go to therapy because in order to have these people in my life, I would constantly have to work on new shit. And eventually I got to the point where I encouraged them to work on themselves. And I said, would you consider going and working on your own issues? Because I'm putting in all this work on myself that I have to deal with you. This is what I talk about being delusional and crazy. This is what I'm talking about, because just to be in presence of certain people, it would re-injure me. And whenever you have to deal with toxic, dysfunctional, gaslighty, lie, envious, jealous people, you do have to do a lot of inner work. It's a treadmill. It's hard work. You have to go to therapy in order for the privilege of having people in your life who don't even fucking love you. So I just had this awakening around the whole thing. And it's like, I really don't have time to go to Al-Anon just so I can go visit with my aunt every week. I don't like, who has the time to have to go to Al-Anon just to have certain people in your life? Who has the time to have to go to therapy? It was expensive. And I was like, bitch, you ain't paying my therapy bill. So either you're going to have to pay me $200 for me to come over and visit you, or it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. You can love people, but can you love people who hate you? That's one of those things that you get sorted out real quick, because see, now I know what true love is. I know true love. If you love somebody, you want to alleviate their suffering. So if somebody keeps causing you suffering, you have your answer. If someone keeps causing you problems, drama, running insurance fraud on you, they don't love you. I don't know. They're sick. They're sick in the head. But when somebody loves you, they don't cause you more suffering or trauma or trouble or gossip about you or demonize you or scapegoat you. Get it through your head. Come on, please get it through your head. It's so disturbing to realize when people don't love you. Now, they might love you according to some sick, twisted logic, upsy downsy land, where when you punch somebody in the face, that's actually that's how we show love. I mean, I've seen some crazy shit. I've been in and around some crazy families. So define love for yourself. You could steal this one. True love is when you attempt to alleviate the suffering of another. You don't save them. You don't coddle them. You don't hold them up in a special relationship. But if they're suffering, you at least make an attempt to alleviate that suffering, or you don't make it worse. Or you just don't make it worse. Sometimes in a healed state, we will withdraw from situations that our mere presence could make worse. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Like, we can withdraw, go no contact, because in our healed state, it can trigger the fuck out of people, because they can't blame things on us anymore. They can't project on us anymore. They can't dump their garbage or their unwanted problems. They also can't trigger our pain bodies in our healed state. So they start to pop off and spin out. It drives them nuts. A healed person drives an unhealed person batshit. So you withdraw from situations like that because you don't want to drive them crazy with your non-reaction. They'll start spinning out, throwing shit, acting a fool if they can't trigger your pain body. It's wild. It's wild. You will see the calmest, sweetest little grandmother who is not healed. And if a healed person walks in her presence, she's like a pumpkin head. It's wild. All right. So at some point, healing is going to become natural. Eventually, you realize something miraculous. The chaos isn't following you anymore. Your nervous system calms down. Your health improves. You're no longer magnetized to dysfunction. I see you, magnetized to dysfunction. I know you're out there. You stop craving drama. You stop needing to numb. Life doesn't feel like a battle. It starts to feel balanced. And, so the craving of the drama, the needing, the magnetized to dysfunction, get called out on this, because for many of us, we get so used to drama. We get so used to the chemical hits that come with drama and with arguments. Because when we're arguing with people, when we're bickering with people, our body releases chemicals, and we can get addicted to these chemicals. But when you're no longer addicted to those chemicals, when you have a period of peace and you feel the sensations that come along with peace, whenever you're angry or whenever you get upset or when someone pushes your buttons, doesn't feel good anymore. Even though for a while it may have felt good, you stop craving that shit. You stop craving arguments. You stop craving feeling bad. But it might feel like a lot of work in the beginning, but eventually You're not working on yourself every minute. You're not having to go to therapy because you hung out with your dad. You're living. You experience real peace, a kind of stillness that isn't performative, but deeply embodied. Your ego starts taking a back seat. You build a morphogenetic field around you, an energetic frequency of presence and truth that others feel just by being in your space. And here's the other side of this. When you are able to build this morphogenetic field, unhealed people want to be around you. Unhealed people want to be in your presence. They want to call you. They want to talk to you because that morphogenetic field pushes out their egos. It pushes out their pain body. They start to feel a relief just by being in your presence. And that's on the other side of this. You might be able to talk to people in your family again. You might be able to deal with your in-laws because you have this strong field of presence, this morphogenetic field that it just pushes out all sorts of cockamamie bullshit. It just doesn't even arise. You find people at the store are helpful to you. You find that cash registers open whenever you walk up. That's what this morphogenetic field is all about. And that's what you're going to find beyond healing. I mean, I went out shopping today and I focused on creating a really powerful morphogenetic field. I found something that I needed on clearance. So this morphogenetic field can actually work a markdown gun and get what you want on clearance. If you're a value-oriented person, if you're a frugal person, you're going to want to heal. You save money, you save time and money, and the stuff that you want gets marked down and put on clearance. That's the benefit of this morphogenetic field. It serves you. It serves other people. And so when you create this field of presence, things go your way. Things go other people's way. And unhealed people want to be in your presence because it feels really good in that morphogenetic field. Unfortunately, unhealed people also have no chill. They will start to feel very uneasy in this field of presence. They'll start to be like, I need a hit of anger. I need a hit of drama. They start acting like junkies. And so they will feel the benefit of this morphogenetic field. And this is where you learn small doses with unhealed people, small doses, because they will start to crave that drama, crave that drug. They want to start a fight. They're not used to this feeling of peace. Their bodies will start craving it. And so that's when you learn to withdraw. You will start to notice it when it begins. You'll start to see like a look in their eye, or you'll start to see a twitch in their lip as they're just craving that anger and that drama. And then you'll just say, oh, look at the time. Bye-bye. I mean, even Eckhart Tolle talks about how he can only spend an hour with his mother, or he could when she was alive. So give yourself a break. Healing does not mean that you endure bullshit, that you endure mistreatment, or that you just put up with drama, because that's the misconception of spirituality from the ego. The ego thinks that when you're spiritual, nothing phases you, or nothing that you can endure the most difficult and disgusting behaviors of other people. That's not true at all. It's about setting those boundaries, knowing your limits. I mean, when you're conscious in an unconscious world, it takes energy to create that field of presence, and it takes energy for you to stay present, even in a difficult situation. Most people will not be able to achieve a state of presence without doing lots and lots of inner work and healing. It just won't happen. So for somebody who says, "Oh, I've worked on my ego, man. It's a done deal. I don't need to heal. It's a done deal." It's not. They're just faking it. And you'll see them out in public screaming at people, yelling at people. And I'm laughing because I used to do that quite a bit. I used to be the one in public who would say, I am peaceful. I am a spiritual teacher. I've got no problems. And then somebody wouldn't give me what I wanted, a cashier or something, and I'd be like, let me speak to your manager. I'm a lot better than I used to be. I am way better than I used to be. My public chill is a lot better than it used to be. I still have my moments like everybody does because life is still challenging. So what before we get to there, what's beyond healing? Service. You get this holy obsession with helping others. You're no longer just trying to fix yourself. You're trying to share what you've learned. Maybe it becomes your calling. Maybe it will become your career, but it becomes your joy. You become the person you used to desperately need. You don't preach, you embody. You don't fix people. You inspire them to fix themselves. And so people will start to ask you questions. People might start to ask you what your secret is. People might start to ask you what your secret is, what your key to all of this is. Some people might even ask you about the ego or the pain body. And when that happens, you just direct them to a book, you direct them to a YouTube channel, you direct them to something else. Because if you start to try to fix people, it's going to clamp that down. In my life, I just encourage people to read A New Earth. If they're interested in what I'm interested in, I'll just say, oh, just pick up a copy of A New Earth or look up the pain body. I don't make a big deal out of it anymore. I don't say, oh, I'm a shaman, let me help you. No. People have to really want it. You know, every now and then I'll meet somebody out in nature who lives the teachings of A New Earth, understands the ego, understands pain body. I call them New Earthers. And it's really a whole lot of fun to hang out with New Earthers because nothing really serious ever goes on. But when we're talking to each other in New Earther spaces, what do we talk about? I don't know. We just talk about stuff. We don't talk about healing. We don't even talk about ego. We don't talk about pain body. We're too busy laughing. We don't even talk about this shit, to be honest, but we just embody it. And when anybody has questions, we have answers, but I usually just direct people away. And I prefer just to focus on creating that really good morphogenetic field. I wasn't always that way. I used to be Captain Save-A-Ho. Now I'm Captain Save-A-Patrick, because if I can save myself, it actually encourages other people that they can also heal. Because if you knew how far I've come in a relatively short period of time, it proves that the teachings work. It proves that working on ego and pain body actually makes a difference in my life. You can see it. Those of you who've been following me for a while, you can see it. I'm a different person than I was last year. And more than just looks, but in the way I talk and the way that I feel, especially. So challenges don't stop, but they change. Even in your most healed state, life will still challenge you. But now you have perspective. You've built inner scaffolding. The same things that used to destroy you now become teachings. You learn to place discomfort in its proper place, not as an enemy, but as a messenger. You're vigilant, not paranoid, but protective of your peace. And because you know what chaos feels like, you make damn sure not to invite it back in. You know, I used to run an amateur, non-professional homeless shelter where I would just let anybody come into my house and steal. And I thought I was being virtuous. I thought I was being spiritual. I thought that was the right thing to do. And that was how the ego had me by the balls. So you can love people unconditionally, but at the same time, it's really hard for anybody to live when their peace is constantly disturbed. You know, I love crone energy, crone lives matter. And I love that sort of knowledge and wisdom that comes from that crone life. Like the crone would say, get your own damn food, or I'm not running a homeless shelter here, honey. I'm not. But I used to do those types of things, and I thought I was being very, very virtuous. I thought I was, you know, doing my part, helping people out, but I couldn't even help myself. That's why I'm Captain Save-A-Patrick now, because when I save myself, I'm actually of use to other people. You know, it's it's a fine line between selfishness and service. But I want to be of service, so I have to be selfish enough so that I can be of service, if you know what I mean. But the final destination is trust. Beyond healing is trust. Trust in yourself, trust in spirit, trust in the process. You become someone others admire, yes, but more importantly, you become someone you trust. And that changes everything. That's what's waiting for you on the other side. Keep going. And that's beyond healing. Nobody regrets healing. Nobody regrets losing a bunch of weight. Nobody regrets getting sober. Nobody regrets going no contact with their dysfunctional family. Nobody regrets any of that stuff. And if you're going through any of that right now and you're knee deep in shadow work and it feels like it's hell, keep going. Keep going. It gets better. It gets a lot better. Trust me. Trust me. It gets better. But you're just going to have to get through it to the other side. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. Don't forget that our book, The Machinations of Ego, is out right now. Get it, read it, wake the fuck up. Also, don't forget that we love you. Yes, we do.